Hey, this is Matt Wenning at WenningStrength.com, and today we're going to talk about a sensitive topic that I feel is really underutilized and misunderstood in a lot of the new wave of powerlifting, which is injuries. And my take on injuries is that you shouldn't be getting them, right? And if you are, you're training incorrectly. So let's dive into that. So one of my clients came in a couple of days ago, and we were talking about how some of the younger lifters are talking about how injuries are inevitable, and if you're training hard enough, you're going to get injured and blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what was funny is the week before, I was listening to a talk from the Swiss conference on Ian King, and Ian King was talking about how injuries are completely preventable, and it's a sign of mistraining or calculating your volume incorrectly or putting your intensities too high. So I'm going to give you my take on what I think injuries are. One, injuries are usually a fault in training. Now, what does that mean? That means that if you're not focusing on your weak points, let's take the bench press, for example, since everybody likes to bench press. If you are not focusing on your triceps and your stabilizer muscles, and all you're focused on is the bench press and doing pec work and things you can see in the mirror, you're going to start damaging your shoulders and creating injuries, right? With rotator cuffs, bicep tears, pec tears, all the things that we hear people talk about. And the reason is because they're not counterbalancing pressure. So a lot of times when I see people that have pec injuries or shoulder injuries, what I start to realize is that their back's either training or their focus and volume is not correct. Usually by focusing on twice the amount of back work to front work, you're going to be able to kind of at least pad the ability to not get hurt on those particular areas. So if you're talking to people that are bench pressers or some local guy at the gym you think's cool because he bench presses 365 and he's telling you, well, if you're not getting injured, you're not training hard enough. Well, hell, I used to hear that from Louis Simmons all the time. I've never been injured bench pressing. The point is that injuries, in my opinion, the first cause is you're not training correctly. The second cause is that you're not looking at your training as a 24-hour block period. What's this mean? This means that you're not coming into the gym hydrated, you're not planning your meals, and you're not getting enough rest. So a lot of the lifters and training partners that I've had over the years that have been injured, I can almost guarantee you that a lot of times if they sit down after the injury, they're like, man, I didn't drink enough water today. I didn't get enough salt. I missed meals. I didn't sleep very well last night. All those things are cumulative for you to get hurt. So the thing of it is if you don't want to get hurt, then you want to try to look at your training protocol and your lifestyle as a 24-hour process. If it was as easy as spending just maybe 50 minutes to an hour and a half in the gym 4 or 5 times a week, we would see a lot more people insanely strong. But we start to realize that that's really not the case. The case is that a lot of people to reach their maximal genetic potential need to put 24 hours a day into that. And sometimes what's going to keep you from getting injured is what you're doing outside of the gym. The third thing that you're going to need to understand is that injuries are usually caused by bad motor patterns. So what does this mean? This means when you're bench pressing or doing anything heavy, I'm just using the bench press for an example because it's kind of easy and a lot of people like to do it. But if you look at poor technique in the bench press, the body will allow you to do that for a long, long time. And then something's going to happen, and either you're going to have to modify your form or you're going to have to quit. And a lot of people go towards the quit because obviously, if you look at powerlifting in general, most people are looking at a 2 to 4 year window, and then they're like, I can't do this anymore. I have a job or I have a family or I have an excuse, right? So they never really see their true potential. But the point is, it doesn't mean you shouldn't train for long term. The first thing that you want to realize is that if you're getting into bench pressing and you're not super strong yet, go to a professional and have them look at your technique. Come on to our online coaching. Go to somebody else's online coaching. And at the very least, download a manual or do something. But learn how to get your technique perfect. Because perfect technique will allow you to have way more mileage in a lift than improper form. And let's face it, the average people do not know how to bench correctly. And that's why you don't walk into a normal gym and see people bench pressing over 500 pounds or even 400 pounds for that matter very often. And the reason is because technical flaws usually limit the amount of strength you're going to be able to create. And it also creates an injury much sooner than if your technique was perfect. So the third thing you need to do is seek out professional help. Don't be one of those guys that just thinks that going in the gym and working out is going to fix the problem. What really is going to fix the problem is being very, very forward thinking and making sure that your form is perfect before you get super strong. So those are 3 things that I think would avoid injuries probably 85-90% of the time. Now, if you're trying to lift world record weights, then by all means, the human body is not really intended to do so. But you find that the average people that talk about getting hurt in the gym, they're not even close to world record weights. So that means that one of those 3 things are off. 1, you're not getting enough sleep and nutrition. 2, your technique is bad. Or 3, your training is off. Fix those 3 areas and watch your training go through the roof. Now, if you need more help, contact us, go on to online coaching, check out the manuals, and take a look at some of the stuff we do in some of the other videos on YouTube. Maybe you're not warming up correctly. We got plenty of stuff on Wenning warm-ups to help you with that.